The one thing that was sort of fun and kind of cool and a bit of a badge of honor, it was the first show that they ever had that had all the possible warnings that you could put on a TV show, and it was an animated show. Drug, sex, violence, language, and something, I think there was 5. Basically, it was like this whole laundry list that came up.
Fight! Spawn of the damned! Bring down the heavens! Smash in the gates! Burn down! You must accept the fate that you've chosen! You will obey your destiny!
Hello, friends and subscribers, and welcome to the month of October, the month of Halloween, the eve of witches, spooks, and frights. Last year for Halloween, I reviewed all 5 Phantasm movies featuring the late and great Angus Grimm as the Tall Man. The Phantasm-A-THON was unexpectedly very popular. But in regards to this year, I have unearthed something completely different, but just as unholy as Phantasm, if not more. For the Halloween season in 2018 AD, we will be reviving the animated HBO series Todd McFarlane's Spawn. Now, I'm sure most of you have at least heard of Spawn, and perhaps maybe even saw the 1997 live-action film adaptation in all its trashy, cheese-ridden glory. But for those completely unfamiliar with Spawn, I will explain this. Spawn is, without question, my all-time favorite comic book character. Having first been acquainted with Spawn when I was almost 10 years old. More on that in a bit. But yes, while Spawn isn't exactly brand new, he is certainly a newer comic book character, with Spawn #1 first being dropped in the spring of 1992. While the 1990s was a rather abysmal time for comic books, Spawn was able to establish itself as one of the most popular comic book series of the 1990s, with its dark and gritty subject matter featuring an undead anti-hero, being a breath of fresh air over the tired and countless examples of selfless heroes in mostly PG-friendly situations. Spawn's massive popularity in the 90s is what led to its film adaptation and animated television series, both of which dropped in 1997. Since then, Spawn's popularity has unfortunately dwindled significantly, but still remains a relevant comic series since it first debuted a little over 25 years ago. In fact, rumor has it they're working on a new Spawn movie. I wonder who they'll pick to play Spawn. Oh, Jesus Christ, we're screwed.
We've learned that Jamie Foxx is a constant.
Oh my goodness, well that's unfortunate.
Anyway, the synopsis to Spawn goes as following. Al Simmons was a Special Forces soldier who started off his career as a Marine in the Vietnam War. One day he saved the president from an assassination attempt, and his efforts led him to being offered a position working in a Black Ops force under the command of Jason Wynn, the director of the fictional United States Security Group, an umbrella agency that oversees the Central Intelligence Agency, National Security Agency, and National Security Council. But one day, while out on a mission, Al is betrayed by his partner and burned to death. Al is then sent to Hell for the crimes and sins he committed while killing for the U.S. government. In Hell, he meets Malebolgia, Lord of the 8th Sphere of Hell and commander of the Army of Hell. Malebolgia then makes a deal with Al. In exchange for becoming a Hellspawn, a high-ranking commander in Satan's army, Malebolgia will allow Al to see his wife Wanda once again. Al agrees and Malebolgia keeps his end of the bargain, and Al is transported to Earth to see Wanda again. However, like a cruel trickster, Malebolgia had him return to Earth on conditions that Al did not end weaponry. Al now seeks bloody vengeance on those who have wronged him, such as those in Hell who have tried to become his masters, the men who sent him there, and the forces of heaven who now seek to destroy him, as well as any other shitbag unfortunate enough to stand in his way. So, Black Lord, you said he was your favorite, so why is that? I think that description enough should explain why I like Spawn so much. As I was alluding to in the beginning, I first picked up my first copy of the comic book series at my local grocery store some 15 years ago in September 2003. Issue 128, which I still have right here along with a bunch of the other subsequent issues that came out for the next year and a half at least. For the longest time of not having the opportunity to read some of the earlier comics, until I came across the Spawn Origins reprint on Amazon, I have only bought and read them infrequently over the past couple of years. So I must disclose that I'm not exactly a Spawn connoisseur by anyone's definition, the same way I am with Black Metal, Warhammer 40,000, or even Phantasm. I'm at best an average fan who's willing and able to review the HBO series. But perhaps I will achieve that connoisseur level in due time. Just not right now. But it was from here on out that I was into Spawn. I bought the comics, a bunch of McFarlane toy merchandise. Sadly, most of them have been lost or destroyed over the years, save for this thing and Malboja, except without his horns and only one arm. And while I do have a figure of Angela, and of course one of Spawn himself, I only got these last two rather recently as opposed to the first two, which I've had since I was a kid. And one of the Christmas presents I got in 2003 was the game Spawn Armageddon for the PlayStation 2. It was a fun game. I also got into the show in March 2004 after my grandmother came up to visit one day and got me the first season on DVD, and later the entire series on DVD for Christmas that year. And as one can conclude after watching this series and this review, yes, I was way too young to be watching this when I was barely a preteen back then. I don't remember when I saw the live-action movie, but I think it was actually much later, as in years after this. And here in 2018, I'm still waiting for the series to get a Blu-ray or 4K release. So, if this is an animated series, who can we look forward to as seeing as voice actors? Well, Spawn himself is voiced by the guy with one of the most badass voices of any mortal around, Keith David, whose previous talents include the following from this reel.
Kill me or release me, parasite. But do not waste my time with talk. There is much talk, and I have listened. A gargoyle doesn't whine. He roars!
Good way at anything, man. Just keep your pecker hard and your powder dry, and the worm will turn.
You got what stuck? It. Oh! It, listen, it's not the end of the world. These kind of things happen. Don't worry. She's a dental hygienist. She'll know exactly what to do. The collectors? We hadn't considered that. There's so little data. They've always seemed like a fringe threat. If they're a front for the Reapers, this is big. But even that may not be enough to get the Council off its tail. Ramirez! Get to the roof and check out the supply drop. We're spotted. Ramirez! Use your smoke grenades! Ramirez! We got hostiles! Use your predator drone control ring to protect Buster! Thanks for the assist. Ramirez! Get the fuck on the roof! Ramirez! 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 Ramirez!
We also got Kath Soucie from the Rugrats, Michael Beach, who was in The Abyss, ER, in the 2012 Red Dawn, John Rafter-Lee, who did a few voices in Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex, and voiced Sid in Final Fantasy XII. We also got Richard Dyersart, who was in The Prophecy and The Thing, to name a few voice actors. One last thing to mention. When this show first dropped in 1997, they were made into your typical half-hour episodes, but on DVD they were released as 2.5-hour movies, with each side being just shy of an hour and 15 minutes each. And that is how we're going to review the series. Unlike the Phantasm-A-Thon that was 5 parts, this will be 3. So without further delay, let us begin the review. After some opening credits, a mysterious old man cues us into some exposition.
400 years have passed. Once again, it is time for a new warrior to emerge from the darkness.
I wonder who he is talking about. After that, 2 journalists are walking down a sketchy alley in the middle of the night, hoping to get the scoop on some serious dirt.
Look, take out your press ID. I want him to see we're legit.
This is some ugly shit we're talking about, Bennett.
They find their contact, but are mercilessly ambushed by hitmen. Their contact is shot in the back, and one of the journalists' heads is blown off with a shotgun. The other journalist tries to run away, but is shot in the calf by one of the hitmen, who then subjects him to enhanced interrogation.
Okay, asshole, next question. Who else knows?
While this is going on, we see a watcher to the situation, and another hitman pulls up with a gas canister. I wonder where this is going.
Let's do this thing and go.
I swear. Please. I got a family. Kids.
And for their sakes, I hope decent life insurance.
Burning to death isn't exactly a great way to go. Just ask the mortician from Phantasm 2. But right as he's about to be lit up,
Let him go.
he has a savior. As we can see, Spawn wastes no time in dealing with these thugs as violently as he can. Watch out, he dropped the lighter and... that was close. The Mafia thug then begins to unload unlimited ammo into Spawn, but with his chains, Spawn throws him into the windshield of his car. Damn. His buddy tries to shoot Spawn with his handgun, but Spawn overpowers him.
What the hell are you?
And with cold silence, he executes the fucker. Despite saving him from certain death from the Mafia hitmen, the journalist is still scared shitless of Spawn and pulls the gun on him.
Stay back!
You don't want to do that.
Not heeding Spawn's advice, he pulls the trigger anyway and sets himself ablaze in the process. Witnessing the man burn up causes Spawn to witness flashbacks that are rather traumatic in nature. He then wallows in anguish for a bit.
Hell does not allow its warrior children to roam unchecked.
We are then introduced to the clown, who you could say is Spawn's handler.
I so enjoy the shameful details. I mean, you look at him, you look at you. You're a match set.
He even gives Spawn his name.
What do you think, Spawn?
Spawn?
Yeah, as in hell spawn. It's what you are, baby.
The clown then clues Spawn into his nature.
You see violence, you act. That's why he picked you.
Al has a hard time trying to remember things, and then tries to get a good look at his face, or what's left of it, and does not like what he sees.
It's me. What's happened? Who am I?
After yelling and screaming for 10 minutes, Spawn is extended the olive branch by the local bums in the alley.
Jesus Christ on a crutch. What the hell is that?
I don't know. But he might need help. Hey, mister, you okay? You've been screaming and moaning for 10 minutes.
Despite their friendly disposition, Spawn rejects their offer of help and says he's out to get what he wants. And we finally see the face of our friendly narrator.
What you want and need aren't the same. This place is a refuge from the maelstrom.
This guy looks like the sagely wizard type. I wonder if there'll be a reason for that explained later on.
Get out of my way, old man.
Spawn just wants to go home, but the old man gives him some truth he might or might not wanted to have heard.
I just want to go home. Now move or be moved.
Listen, we all want to go home, my friend. But it's war getting there.
And with that, it is not long before New York City's finest are on the scene investigating the gruesome aftermath of what had just transpired. We then meet detectives Sam Burke and Maximilian Twitch Williams. These guys may not be badass undead punishers fighting demons, angels, or cyborgs, but the dialogue between us two was some of the best scenes in the entire series. Just watch.
Mason, you mafia dirtbag piece of shit. You never looked better.
Sir, I don't think the CSU is going to appreciate you sprinkling donut crumbs onto the deceased.
See what I mean?
Oh, I hate early morning. Nothing human up at this hour.
No, sir. Just as civil servants.
Dead mob scumbags.
Nicely put, sir.
While Burke is clearly unsaddened by the deaths of these hitmen, he knows that there is more than just hitmen lying dead here.
What's his story?
David Bennett, a journalist with the Washington Post, Same as the one at the alley's far end, except Bennett's won a Pulitzer for his investigative piece on the congressional scandal 3 years ago.
You know, Twitch, for 1997, in a time where pagers were still a thing and no mobile phones with internet access, or 21st century surveillance technology, seemed to have gotten that information rather quickly.
Hey, if it ain't on ESPN, I couldn't give a shit.
No, sir.
There is one person that was neither a hitman nor a journalist.
What about the other stiff?
Homeless. No ID yet. His prints came up nil.
Probably just an alley mushroom. First, buy me some with chocolate sprinkles.
2 dozen, sir?
Half that. You know I'm on a diet.
Again, see what I mean? Of course, things will get better in the scenes to come, but it appears Spawn has got himself a disguise and makes his way to his old home, hoping to see the love of his dreams, Wanda Blake, once again. He does and finds out the awful truth. Since his death, she has remarried, this time to Terry Fitzgerald, Al's best friend when he was alive. Terry and Wanda have a child together, Cyan.
How long has it been? Where have I been? God damn it, what's happened to me?
The narrating old man finally explains why Malboja tricked Al.
It's Hell's plan to keep the new recruits confused, hoping to discourage the warriors of any personal mission.
The clown then tells him everything. Al probably had too low of a sperm count and Wanda remarried Terry, who gave her Cyan. And then we're in for the final truth bomb he drops.
You can't blame her, though. After all, you've been dead almost 5 years.
You're lying.
No. It's not true. That's impossible. Anyway, Spawn, your former self, meaning one hell-bent for let a kick-ass, take no prisoners government assassin by the name of...
Still pestered by the clown, so Spawn gives him a badass threat.
Look! Back off before I permanently introduce your face to your colon.
One of my favorite lines was, if you don't stop doing that, I'm going to permanently introduce your face to your colon.
Keith David, ladies and gentlemen. And with that, the clown disappears. Later that night, while still in denial of his predicament, Al finds his grave. Despite seeing his last name plastered on it, he still digs it up to see if there's a corpse inside. Once he rips open the casket, there it is, his body uncovered. The only thing that convinces him of the truth is his wedding ring found on the body.
Precious!
He then finally realizes the truth.
Oh, God!
Al's corpse then temporarily reanimates and tells him what happened.
You made a deal, you stupid son of a bitch. You made a deal with Malboja.
And the details of such a deal were simple.
The deal was, you see Wanda and then become Hellspawn, a ranking officer in the Devil's Army. Well, now you've seen her. Time to pay the piper.
And so, Spawn knows the price for cutting a deal with a minion of hell. You'll get what you want, but only on the absolute shittiest of terms. He then flings his corpse and then shatters it. However, to dignify what's left of his remains, he does so by putting himself back together, practically literally speaking, and then seals the coffin once again. Now knowing what happened to him, Spawn is out for more answers and vengeance. We then cut to an angry phone call between Mr. Green from Hey Arnold and some guy in a dark room.
You scumbag, douchebag-eating motherfucking cocksucker shit, motherfucking prick! I'll take your fucking head, chop it off!
Jesus, sounds like somebody woke up on the wrong side of the bed this morning. No, seriously, watching that with your friends when you were 10 was the funniest shit. It never got old. Anyway, let's see what this guy's pissed off about.
Calm down, Tony. Just tell me what went wrong.
What went wrong? Somebody took 3 of my best guys and threw them into what must have been a walking wood chipper.
Oh, this is the mob boss those 3 thugs in the alley answer to. That mob boss being Tony Twist. Tony is angry that his 3 best killers were killed on what was supposed to be a quote-unquote simple gig.
They were ambushed, sniped, what?
They're now wearing their goddamn heads on backwards is what I'm saying. The bones got pretzeled by somebody who knows how to do it right.
I see.
Tony then subtly accuses the man he is talking with of having his men killed.
All I'm saying is, this smells like the work of a goddamn government-trained assassin. And that just happens to be your stock and trade.
It wasn't any of mine.
Government-trained assassin. So that only leaves one suspect from Night Raid, but I don't think Akame is capable of pretzeling bones. But this guy, he is a government official, but what is he doing working with a mob boss? From the sounds of it, it sounds like he ordered the assassination of that journalist, despite having plenty of government assassins at his disposal. If you have deduced correctly, this is Jason Wynn, the man who ordered the death of Al Simmons. As this one scene and prior knowledge can tell you, he is a rather shady and devious individual, to say the least. You're better off not knowing him. Anyway, after Tony confirms that the journalists were also killed, Wynn promises to compensate Tony for the death of his men, but also wants Tony to let him know if he finds out more about the mystery assassin. Wynn then makes a call himself.
Hello.
The newsmen have been dealt with.
Who did you use?
Mafia elements, nothing traceable.
Good. Thank you.
Oh, great. We got a case of I know a guy who knows a guy who has guys that can take out some journalists for me.
And, as we discussed,
The appropriations are already in place. As of now, you've got unlimited credit with the Department of Defense.
I appreciate that, Senator.
A government official with assassins at his disposal using mafia ties to kill journalists in exchange for political favors. Wow. This was the deep state before the deep state even existed. But why does this sitting senator want these journalists killed anyway?
But tell me, how long do you intend to cover for him?
As long as I have to.
He's a child killer.
Look, we've been through this before. You don't have a son, let alone one you can't give your name to. So what he does is my problem.
Holy shit. This guy has a son who is a child killer? So he wanted them dead because those journalists probably knew about it. After Spawn deals with some corrupt cops, he then makes his way back into his alleys, where the clown approves of his actions.
That's it, Spawn. Let yourself go. Get pissed. Do some damage. Don't take shit from nobody.
Yes, we all know you demons love violence. But let's hear how the world will end according to the clown.
This is the way the world ends. Not with a bang. Both a lot of blood and torn flesh and broken bones. Brutal.
The mysterious narrator tells us of the plan.
And so the game has begun.
The final game. I'll be dead.
After 400 years, a new warrior takes center stage, preparing for the great battle.
Oh, and it trails off into darkness. That's how you know this was originally a 30-minute episode. But with that ending, let's see where it goes. Oh hey, it's nice and sunny out with kids playing.
It's ice cream, guys! Come on, let's go! Come on, move it, guys! Come on!
As with Cyan, many of these kids were voiced by Kathy Sosi, who voiced the twins on the Rugrats. So we have 2 voice actors from Nickelodeon, and Keith David, who previously voiced Goliath on Gargoyles, which aired on ABC, which is owned by Disney. What the hell are all these voice actors from kid shows doing in this adult cartoon on HBO? Anyway, since this is 1997, the Ice Cream Man isn't Reggie, because he's too busy chasing down the tall man on the other side of the country.
Hell has many demons in training. This one is known as Billy Kincaid.
Oh, shit. I do not like the way he's looking at that little girl. And oh shit, she's getting into the truck with him. Oh Jesus. That poor little girl probably had a full life ahead of her. After one of Al's hallucinogenic nightmares, we see him chilling on the roof in the rain. Then in the alley, hey look, someone's throwing something away. A teddy bear? Don't tell me the remains of the little girl. Oh shit, it is.
My God, not another one.
Another one? What do you mean?
Your kids get dumped here. Never had a chance. Horrible, isn't it?
Jesus, what a depressing alley. It's where the mob kills its victims and where Billy Kincaid dumps his child victims.
She has a little girl now.
Who?
She wanted children.
I smell some foreshadowing.
Could be you need a friend.
Yes, everyone needs a friend. Because remember...
A man without friends is a man without power.
Well, Spawn isn't exactly powerless, but anyway.
All I need is Wanda. But I can't have her. Not like this.
Why not?
Careful what you look for.
You just might find it.
You ask stupid questions.
I've seen lots worse. Used to work for a mortician.
Was it this mortician?
The funeral is about to begin, sir.
Later, more of Tony Twist's men show up demanding answers rather aggressively.
All right, you alley pukes. Who's gonna win the prize and stay alive by telling me what I want to know?
After killing 2 homeless men rather quickly, he comes to Garib and Bobby.
I'll even help you out in case you don't watch game shows. Okay, it goes like this. Who is...
about to take your head off.
Oh shit, son. Seriously, that is one of the best lines in the entire series. Spawn then wounds the one doing all the talking, and then wastes the other 2 thugs. Spawn then has a task for the one doing all the talking.
Alright, Game Boy. This is what you're gonna do. Stay alive long enough to give your boss... What's his name?
Tony.
You're gonna tell Tony to keep his goons out of these alleys.
30 seconds ago, this guy was acting all tough. But now he could barely speak Tony Twist's name. Spawn then throws him in the back of a truck and tells him this.
You're gonna give him my message. Because guess what? As far as I know, I'm already dead. Which means I'm waiting for your sorry ass in the afterlife.
Another badass delivery from Keith David S. Spawn. The thug then drives away. One of the smart things to do.
What'd I tell you, huh? He's something, ain't he?
Name is Bobby. Al.
Everybody, meet Al.
Spawn is then finally accepted by the homeless people of the alleyways. Later, Tony Twist gets a phone call and gets word of that they now know who killed his men. He then calls in for some backup.
Yeah, it's Tony. I'm calling in my marker. Send him. Today, right now. By the time I hang up this phone, he better be over the Atlantic.
You better be calling in someone with massive firepower if he can go toe-to-toe with Spawn. Even now at his weakest. Later that morning, Terry and Wanda are off to work, and Wanda drops her briefcase, disturbed by the pro bono case she is working on. It involves a child killer named Kyle Watson. She is then comforted by Terry. Too bad that's not Al. Later that night, we see a helicopter flying and landing on a ship docked near the Statue of Liberty. I wonder what this is all about.
Gonna have your asses up on so many goddamn charges your great-grandchildren will be answering subpoenas.
This guy seems a little pissed.
I am a United States Senator. Now you don't break into my hotel room and snatch me off a woman, and you don't throw me in a friggin' helicopter like a piece of meat and fly me to New York in the middle of the friggin' night.
You say you're a senator, but if I didn't know better, I'd say you were Bill Clinton. What other politician from the 90s would complain about being snatched off a woman in the middle of the night?
Sorry for the inconvenience, Senator. I trust we didn't interrupt anything deeply personal, but I thought this needed a face-to-face.
Jesus, when? What the hell's this all about?
It's about us, Senator.
Well, if Jason Wynn is involved, we...
Yeah, right. And exactly how many skeletons do I have in my closet?
Careful, Wynn. I know you have the proper amount of leverage on this guy, but wouldn't it be easier to run someone less... scandalous?
You're serious?
Always.
He had his men kidnap you from your hotel room in D.C. and then brought you to him face-to-face in New York City in the middle of the night. Just to tell you this, yeah, this is all just for shits and giggles.
All right. Say I run. What do you get out of it?
A friend in a very high place.
McMillan says he doesn't really care for being president, but is fine with something such as being Speaker of the House, which isn't really possible if you're a senator. When Wynn says that isn't good enough for him, McMillan correctly deduces that Wynn isn't asking him to run, He's ordering him to run, or else Wynn will release all the skeletons in McMillan's closet.
You could do that, but then I'd have to call the president. Let him know about a certain international tea party you're throwing with DOD ordnance. The scandal would make Watergate and Iran-Contra seem like a mild fart on Capitol Hill.
Ah, looks like we got a verbal Mexican standoff.
Look, McMillan, you get something straight right now. This isn't just about you and me. Last time I checked, you had friends and family. I can make them suffer too.
Yeah, being an amoral Machiavellian type, nobody's off limits from Wynn.
But more importantly, who's going to protect your little bastard son Billy from New York's finest? I hear the cons on Riker's despised child killers. Raped one last year with a bandsaw.
And that is where Wynn gets the upper hand. As always. Back in the city, Spawn looks to the alleys from that church again, and Sam and Twitch are on the scene. Again.
What the hell's it about this alley, Twitch?
The atmosphere.
Well, it is rather grim and dark, just like something else we know.
What do we know?
More of Tony Twist's crew.
Right, troubleshooters. Guys sent in to settle scores. Looks like they got settled instead.
Yes, 2 more of Tony's goons were killed, bringing the total up to 5. The fate of the guy who Spawn sent to tell Tony to fuck off is unknown.
What about those reporters?
Well, Twitch mentions it was believed that the journalists were tracking somebody high up. They have a new development regarding the homeless man that was also killed at the scene.
His name's Jeff Stevens, former technical head of SpecCom Cellular.
The plot thickens.
It does indeed. Let's find out how this guy was able to establish the connection between Billy and Senator McMillan.
Seems he was listening in on some very high-level conversations.
They then deduce that Stevens listened in on something huge as McMillan covering up for Billy, went underground after McMillan found out about this and tried to sell his story to the Washington Post, which of course ended in bloodshed. While that is going on, someone is watching the crime scene, and it isn't Spawn.
Burke, that fat bastard. Yeah, he's gonna give a shit about this case.
I should mention that Burke and Twist are both voiced by the same voice actor, James Keane. So it's kind of funny to hear him talk shit about one character as the other. Tony then arranges for the person he had flown in to be directed to his office and then drives off as Spawn looks on. In his office, we finally get to meet who Tony brought in to help him hunt down and kill Spawn.
I'll be honest, I figured you for a rumor. You know, ex-CIA killer turned ruthless mercenary. Little more than a skeleton on a respirator for almost 3 years. I mean, please.
That's quite the character description there, Tony.
The rumors you've heard about me are all true.
Jesus. Anyway, this is Overt Kill. He is the first formidable challenge Spawn faces in the comic books, with him nearly being killed with him in his first fight. To describe Overt Kill to a more contemporary audience, imagine Kellogg from Fallout 4, a ruthless mercenary on the Institute's payroll and decked with odd robotic enhancements, and then have him kicked up to 11 with a laser eye, missiles. I mean, Jesus. This guy's a fucking tank. Could probably hold his own against a space marine. Or 2. Maybe 3. Overt Kill then mentions he knows that Tony's men have been killed.
Your men have had a bad week.
Yeah, well, I want the piece of shit responsible. Bring me his bones in one bag and his organs in another, okay?
It sounds like Tony wants to make a meat toboggan out of Spawn.
But now, what if they actually do chop off my limbs, rip out my intestines, and ride me like some sort of meat toboggan?
You hear that, Asuna? Meat toboggan. Try getting that image out of your head.
Of course, but I'll be keeping the heart for myself.
For what?
Dinner.
Dinner.
And with that, Overt Kill is off to do his bloody business. Watch out, Spawn. And speak of the devil, where is he? Oh, he's still at the church, watching the homeless people when the clown comes over to pester him and tell him he needs to get to work with what Malboja intended for him.
Time to get real. A deal's a deal, and Malboja, my boss and yours, delivered on his end. You got to see your wife, dear, sweet, tasty Wanda.
Am I even allowed to show this on YouTube? Also, where the hell did you find such a picture of Wanda anyway?
I gotta see Spawn. Baby's got back.
You're about 2 seconds from wearing that smile around your ass.
Yeah, kiss me first, all right?
Another great line. The clown then tells Spawn it's time to fulfill his purpose.
It's business now, big boy. You got the uniform and the attitude, so let's get to it.
To what?
The earth is ready to burn. You're the guy with the match, and I'm here to make sure you do the job right.
That's right, Spawn. As much as he fucked you over, Malebolgia did eventually fulfill his end of the bargain. So, what do you say?
Look, I don't have time for this.
Wrong answer, Spawn.
You don't just turn your back on your obligations. You should be down on your knees thanking Malebolgia.
You should be down on your knees thanking me for not killing you where you stand.
I have a feeling there's more to this clown than meets the eye, Spawn.
Yeah, right. I don't think you know who you're dealing with.
Listen, fat boy. I've had just about enough.
Yeah, baby.
He's transforming, but I don't think he's going Super Saiyan. After a few seconds, the clown sheds his human form to reveal his true self. A demon known as the Violator.
You'll feel some pain, but I know you can hear me.
Get out of my head.
Sladashi whispers. That's a whole lot of dead. Or not.
What are you?
A creature far superior to humans. A true native of hell.
Spawn's reaching for his gun and...
Fool, you can't rely on weapons. That's not why he chose you.
As we know, Spawn and the other supernatural entities can only be killed with weapons of spiritual origin.
There's something in you, the Malebolgia senses something evil.
But if Malebolgia senses something evil in Spawn, then that is certainly something he'll have to come to terms with and work on. The Violator then tells Spawn he better start acting in line with what Malebolgia has in mind for him.
Consider this a friendly reminder. Get with the fucking program.
And with that, he leaves. Spawn is later found by the old man who coaches him through this and then tells him the grand scheme of things.
There's a war on between heaven and hell, and you are on the front lines.
What war?
The only war. Earth is the battlefield, human souls the prize.
The old man then tells Spawn that soon he'll be out of time and he will have to make a choice. And by continuing to kill ruthlessly, he will only be working against himself. Spawn then has trouble trying to comprehend what the old man is trying to warn him about, and on top of dealing with the denizens of hell in the coming war, overt kill is now intruding on Spawn's turf. After he intimidates a homeless man into telling him about Spawn, he then rips his arm off and leaves a blood-soaked message on the wall. It doesn't take long for Spawn to find the message.
Hero. Midnight. Be waiting. What the hell does that mean? Look at the shit you brought us, man.
It was horrible. Just watch as he tore him apart.
Just one.
Yes, Spawn, just one. After some rumbling, he appears.
It's exactly 12 midnight in Nairobi.
In Nairobi, Kenya? That means it should only be 4 p.m. in New York City. Then why the hell does it look so dark out? After finding Spawn, Overt Kill is not impressed.
Tell me you're not the guy who took out Tony's men. Tell me it's somebody with some balls. And not some no-talent asshole in a faggy outfit.
The 1990s. A time when the word faggy wouldn't have been unkosher to describe something, contrary to the PC environment of 2018. Regardless, Overt Kill tries shooting Spawn, and then tries to blow him up with a rocket. Spawn tries to trip him with his cape, but then they begin to engage in fisticuffs. Spawn appears to be getting his ass beat, but then he does this. Ouch! Damn, if Spawn was able to drive that thing any further, he would have been able to kill him. Overt Kill then sends a barrage of missiles to try to kill Spawn, and if I were him, I'd get the fuck out of there, as there is no way blasts such as those are going unnoticed. The old man then explains that while his suit will protect Spawn from most of the damage, it does not make Spawn unkillable. Spawn realizes that, and while he has the endurance to match Overkill, he lacks the firepower to deal with him. So, he later breaks into a CIA armory so he could pack some heat.
This is the Central Intelligence Agency Security Ship Commander. You have entered a restricted ordnance storage facility. Come out hands high, or we will open fire.
Well, this CIA squad appears rather potent. But they got nothing on an undead former government assassin. They begin to fire at Spawn, and we get to see one of his powers for the first time in action. One of Spawn's most important abilities is teleportation. Let's hear the old man explain it.
The first teleportation is the worst, coming as unexpectedly as having the host's uniform save them in the first place.
Meanwhile, Overkill is having his eye repaired.
Can I use the eye, yes or no?
Yes, but no extended night vision or close-up reading.
The night vision may be a problem for Overkill, but he doesn't look like the kind of guy who reads too much. All seems fine until...
Knock, knock.
Holy shit. But unfortunately, we don't get to see the rest of the fight. In the next scene, Tony finds a nasty surprise inside his car.
Overkill. Son of a bitch.
That he was. But then again, so are you.
And now, an epic confrontation begins.
Who are you? What do you want? Anything at all.
I want you to stay out of the alleys, Tony. Your business there is done, understand? Whatever wild hair you had up your ass about that place is officially plucked.
Ah, Spawn, the way you put things is a feat no one else could ever accomplish.
I'm through killing your men.
Time to listen to what Spawn has to say, Tony.
If I see one of your brain-dead thugs so much as spit in the direction of those alleys, I'm gonna come back and pay you a little visit, Tony. And believe me, it won't be as pleasant as the visit I paid your hired cyborg.
Yeah, if Spawn could do that to Overkill, then one can only imagine what Tony Twist would look like after Spawn was through with him.
So here's how it goes. As of now, you work for me, and your job is very simple. Give me my space. Understand? All I want is a little peace and quiet.
Well, Tony, how lucky are you to receive such a lenient ultimatum?
Got it, fat boy?
Yes.
Say it.
I work for you, and you want peace and quiet.
Good. You understand.
And who am I?
I don't know.
That's right. You don't know. Let that little mystery keep you up at night.
Like a boss, Spawn. Like a fucking boss. Tony quickly grabs his gun and tries to shoot Spawn as he walks away, but...
Fuck!
Yep, you're fucked. The next day, Wanda meets her client, Kyle Watson, in a secure location. And at the meeting, Kyle and his mother deny that Kyle had ever killed children.
I didn't do nothing. I've been a good boy. I've been very good.
You're a little slow, aren't you?
Despite their insistence that Kyle was innocent, there is strong evidence against him.
The police found conclusive evidence in Kyle's room, on his clothes, in his car. Blood and tissue matches, semen matches, DNA prelims are positive. With this solid a case against Kyle, the best I can do is try to keep him off death row.
Death row. Right where child killers and child rapists belong. But are we sure that it was Kyle that killed the little girls? With Billy Kincaid on the loose and his daddy being a United States Senator with the help of Wynn covering up his crimes, that couldn't possibly have anything to do with this, right? Later that night, after watching herself on the news, we learned that Wanda was able to get Kyle off scot-free because of evidence proving Kyle's innocence was deliberately suppressed. Meanwhile, Terry has got problems of his own, trying to figure out why the CIA's weapons cache is filled with weapons with mismatching serial numbers. As Terry and Wanda are about to get intimate, Spawn looks on in pain, remembering when he and Wanda would get intimate.
I love you, Wanda.
Aww. Sometime later at a sex club, we see a large black man drinking it up with possibly indifferent to what he sees when his pager starts going off. Pagers. Another thing only 90s kids would remember. So he goes to the bathroom and has a phone call with Jason Wynn.
Having a good time, I trust.
Yeah, whatever.
You really should learn how to relax, Chapel.
Chapel. Yes. Chapel is one of Wynn's deadliest henchmen, and we're about to find out.
Blood helps me relax. Got any for me?
Knowing Jason Wynn, plenty.
A weapons shipment going to North Korea. You accompany with our compliments.
And?
Wait 9 hours, then obliterate the shipment, and give them a bloody nose.
Wynn doing what he does best. Murder and mayhem at the international level.
Who takes the fall?
Peruvian terrorists. After that, I'll have something for you closer to home.
When's the hop?
Tomorrow morning. Usual pickup and delivery.
Sounds like that's standard operating procedure.
What?
I don't like a lot of downtime, you know that.
So get a hobby.
Later that night, because it's HBO, we get some sex position scene where Chapel is on a one-night stand, but we get flashbacks to his days in Vietnam and his days working with Al Simmons.
Hey, Chapel. We're partners, right?
Yep. That is the backstory of Chapel in a nutshell. He and Al were both soldiers, they were also friends and partners, but then Chapel then killed Al on Wynn's orders. Chapel apparently still lives with the regret of his actions.
I'm sorry! I'm sorry.
But after this, we see Billy off to indulge his sick whims. Ugh. And apparently the clown is hatching a plan involving him.
Who says I ain't cultured? Billy Shakespeare, meet Billy Kincaid. Both great artists whose works will live on forever.
Real sick clown. Real sick. Anyway, after Overkill's death or destruction, or whatever you want to call it, his sudden end has put Tony potentially in serious trouble with the mob bosses back in Italy, so he is sending a man there to speak on his behalf.
Go straight to the man, you know who I'm talking about?
Yes, Mr. Twist.
You prostrate yourself before him, understand? You tell him in no uncertain terms that we are very, very sorry about what happened to Overkill.
Geez, Tony, you seem really worried about pissing off these guys back in Rome.
You beg his forgiveness. Get on your knees, kiss his ass, his balls, whatever he needs for this to be all right.
I understand.
Again, Tony, I know Overkill was an irreplaceable cyborg, but what do you think they're going to do? Put a knife in your back? But with that, the mob men are on their way. The next scene is one I'd like to go in depth about, but we now arrive at one of the few things I, and perhaps many others, take issue with this show over. The next scene introduces Angela. She goes about her morning routine while everyone is in awe over how beautiful she is. She fucks up some shitbags outside of a strip club on her way to work, and then at work she confronts her boss, hiding the fact there is a hellspawn on the loose, and she wants to hunt him down all for herself. We learn she is an angel from heaven who specializes in killing hellspawn. The scene hints that Angela will be a formidable opponent to Spawn, even more so than Overkill. But after the scene where she's introduced, that's it. She's just not in the show anymore. The scene is not followed up upon in any way. She was effectively teased, introduced as an opponent to Spawn, but is then never seen or heard from again. It really is a fucking shame, because Spawn did fight her in the comics early on, and was a rather prominent character early in the series. And I think fans of the comics and the animated series would have really appreciated it if she was a reoccurring character. But nope. Whatever. If they weren't going to use her, they shouldn't have had her in there to begin with. To add further shame to not fully utilizing Angela in the show, is we who follow the comics know, Todd McFarlane and Angela's creator, Neil Gaiman, would end up engaging in a lawsuit over the rights to Angela and another few characters he created for Spawn, such as Cogliostro and the medieval Spawn. Gaiman eventually won the suit, and he and McFarlane settled their differences in 2012, allowing Gaiman full rights to the character. Gaiman then sold the rights of Angela to Marvel, So chances are, if we were to see another Spawn movie or an animated series, Angela will not appear unless Marvel grants the producers special rights to use Angela. But other than that, there is really no discussing the scene any further.
Goodbye, Angela.
Yeah, goodbye.
Goodbye indeed. So with Wanda now trying to figure out who framed Kyle Watson and why, Wanda meets with a former police officer turned private investigator, whose name is Max. Yeah, kind of like Twitch's name was Max. Anyway, Max was able to pull some strings in order to recover the actual evidence being purposely hidden. Evidence that leads to the actual killer.
But this shit's like Ebola. Nobody wants nothing to do with it. Not here. I don't mean to sound paranoid, but what you got there is big.
How big?
I like how he mentioned Ebola 17 years before it became a meme.
Raw evidence from the last kid. Uncut. Unedited. And a latent print off the little girl's eyeball. Clear as Christmas.
An actual fingerprint?
Thumb from the left hand of your perp.
Not Watson's.
No.
Max then mentions whoever is covering this guy is capable of calling in some heavy muscle, and Wanda should watch her back, and it's best not to pursue this any further. He may be right as that guy is stalking her, but true to his word, Spawn is there, protecting her. He catches the guy and demands to know why he is following her, but he tries to pull a gun on Spawn.
Not a healthy idea.
After fucking up his arm and throwing him to the ground and smashing his camera with his chains, Spawn begins his interrogation.
I want answers now! Starting with your boss's name.
Like German intelligence agents in World War II, he decides to take his own life rather than give Spawn the answers. After the gunshot is heard, the police are on the scene. Well, what is going on? Jason Wynn is not happy about the CIA having their weapons stolen and speaks to Terry about it.
I want a solid, concise analysis from your department telling me who could have done this. They had the son of a bitch cornered, and somehow he got away.
I haven't seen a maneuver like that since Al Simmons.
I don't want to have to explain this screw-up to the president.
Yeah, I'd rather not be in the Oval Office while Billy is having his willy sucked off. But anyway, Terry has his own theory about what might have happened.
It may have been an inside job, sir.
What are you talking about?
I'm supposed to say that.
Well, sir, I've been running some cataloging reports on my own, and I caught some code discrepancies in our weapons storage files. I did some checking, and crazy as it sounds, it looks like someone might be diverting weapons shipments to other delivery sites, then changing the info in the computer.
Terry has unwittingly found proof of Jason Wynn's illegal weapons trading, but Wynn decides it is best to let Terry find all loose ends and fix them later. But keeping Wynn from having complete peace of mind is the stolen weapons. But he gets a tip from Tony Twist.
Recovered images from Overkill's internal camera. Rome will want Tony's fat ass for this. Nothing like a home video of your own evisceration.
That would make for a good death metal song, but Wynn is alarmed at the video.
I thought you were dead. I am. You've got some balls coming here, hero.
What the hell is that? And what's it doing with my weapons?
That's Spawn, and he's killing one of your allies' henchmen.
Who's laughing now?
Not Jason Wynn, that's who. Sam and Twitch are in their office, nearly at their wits' end, trying to make sense of everything that's happened so far. The alley murders, why they stopped, among other things.
It's a friggin' calm before the friggin' monsoon.
Quite right, sir.
A buzz on the street had overkill in town, which should have meant a bloodbath somewhere, but nobody's seen him in a week, and nobody saw him leave.
He's hard to miss, sir.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to miss a human tank, but apparently not the damage they leave behind. After seeing McMillan announcing his run for presidency, they discuss the guy Spawn killed in the park.
Well, shit on me and call me a Sunday. Mr. Humble here works for the U.S. government.
A pool photographer for the House of Representatives.
Who do we know that works for Congress? Sam then tells Twitch to see if he can find a connection between this guy and the dead reporters, and to order him a hoagie while he is at it. Hopefully that is healthier than eating a dozen donuts. Later, after reviewing the footage, Jason Wynn pays Tony Twist a visit after Chapel wastes 2 of his hookers.
What the fuck is this?
What do you know about the creature on that video you sent me?
He has a badass outfit and can take down a human tank.
Nothing. Just that he's one lethal son of a bitch. Anyone you can whack out overkill.
I need it found, but I can't do it directly.
Tony tries to tell Wynn he was warned not to cross paths with Spawn ever again, but Wynn orders Tony to locate Spawn and alert him. In exchange, Jason Wynn will protect Tony from the people pissed off at him back in Rome. Tony opens the box and...
Christ!
Yeah, Tony, looks like Wanda isn't the only one who needs to watch their back. Speaking of Wanda, she meets with Max once again to see if he has uncovered anything useful. He brings her a disk that will allow her to access the government's databases.
So what do we have here?
We got some heavy-duty shit here, that's what. I'm worried about you, Wanda.
That's sweet, but I'm a big girl and I need that disc, please.
Here you go.
Now that Wanda has the disc, she reveals her next course of action.
So what's your plan?
I'm gonna try to access the government's database and break into their system to find out who framed Watson.
Don't be crazy. You don't want to go messing with these guys.
Someone with power is protecting a child killer. I need to find out who.
I think I'll play this again.
Careful what you look for. You just might find it.
Spawn has a bad dream in his alley and wakes up nearly killing Garib. Garib once again tries to show him kindness, but Spawn is clearly indifferent.
You have a friend there, Spawn. Listen to him.
Beat it, old man. I'm in no mood.
Spawn returns to brooding. The next day we find a rather dire situation with a crazy priest with a mute preteen boy. Can't we just have one child-obsessed sicko in this show? After the psycho toys with the grenade for a bit, he hears approaching sirens and then grenades the cop car. Now New York's finest will be swarming this place very soon. He runs into the alley for cover, but the kid bites him and manages to flee. But then the kid runs into Spawn, gets freaked out by him and decides he's much safer with the psycho preacher. More cops arrive on the scene, but goddamn, he blows up another one, sending his partner into a fucking ape-shit frenzy.
Holy Christ! Come on, you worthless cocksucker! Try to blow me up, you son of a bitch!
Officer Apeshit then tries to intimidate the homeless people into telling him where the preacher went.
Where is he?
What you talking about? Where's who?
Listen, asshole, I'm not in the fucking mood. Look at his preacher friend. He was dragging a boy.
The officer's callousness prompts Spawn to react with wrath.
Is this how you protect and serve?
Shit.
Holy crap, he actually knocked Spawn down with those blasts. But of course, it was to have no effect. Desperate, the cops try to take Garib hostage, but Spawn doesn't let that happen, and then he puts Officer Apeshit in his place.
Who made you God, little man? Not that gun, not that uniform, nothing.
Look who's scared now, officer.
You wanna scare people? Fine. I need a scarecrow. You're gonna be my personal message board. I want everyone to see what happens when they come here, uninvited.
After leaving him there, the preacher shows up and presumably kills the cop. Meanwhile, the NYPD have arrived on the scene of the grenade-chucking priest, and so are Sam and Twitch.
What you got over there, Twitch?
Grenade fragments and a big hole, sir.
Give me something I can work with.
Well, sir, this is the same alley where we found the body of that reporter, Stevens.
I know, and them dead kids were dropped in this area, too.
Holy crap, you guys actually know about that?
Seems to be a popular spot.
But is it a coincidence? Stevens' taped conversations seem to suggest a connection between Washington and a child killer.
Twitch is finally onto something. The homeless informant probably had Bennett and the other reporter meet him in the alley to reveal the locations of where the children's bodies were being dumped. He must have also known that Billy was the killer, and he is the bastard son of Senator McMillan. And from there we could see McMillan must have caught wind of the reporters looking into him. So he calls Wynn, who calls Tony, who has his men ambush them in the alley, so no one would know. But while Sam and Twitch discuss the possibility of the priest being the child killer, Officer Apeshit from before is being sent wheeling towards them on a shopping cart. He then utters his last few words to them.
Stay out his alleys. Two of them.
What about the preacher?
Red cloak.
Red what?
I think he said cloak, sir.
What's that got to do with the damn preacher?
Nothing, Burke. He is warning you about Spawn. He is far more dangerous than any mere mortal, such as a batshit insane preacher armed with frag grenades. Officer Apeshit then dies. Burke then orders a medical team and for SWAT to surround everything within a 6-block radius of the alleys. Back at Wynn's office, he speaks with Chapel about locating Spawn and the weapons he stole, but are interrupted when Terry comes in with a follow-up report. Terry is glad to report that there's been no new missing weapon shipments, but still hasn't turned up anything in regards to the discrepancies, or have come up with any solid leads regarding the weapons that were stolen from the Ordnance Annex, suspecting either cartels or Chinese terrorists. He leaves the report on Wynn's desk, but once Terry leaves, Wynn throws it in the trash. Chapel then reemerges.
I don't like hiding in goddamn closets.
Well, you're not supposed to be in the country, Chapel.
Chapel then tries to make small talk about how Terry should thank him for killing Al, so he could have Wanda, but Wynn rebuffs him.
The guns, that's what this is about. Nothing else.
Not worried about the Boy Scout?
Terry's being monitored, just like everyone else.
Someone's got your weapons.
There's a leak somewhere. I need it plugged.
When Jason wants or needs something, it better happen, or else.
I want this mission executed with precision and finesse.
You trying to say I'm sloppy?
Overzealous, like our little South American project. This time, it's on American soil. The rules are different. Cover your tracks.
After getting the message, Chapel is about to leave when McMillan calls Wynn with some urgent news.
Internal data monitoring in D.C. suggests someone's been hacking into the files of several politicians, including me.
Don't worry, I sanitized your political record.
Personal information, family history. I'm scared shitless.
Yeah, I'd say that's cause for alarm.
The Kyle Watson situation got out of control. That lawyer, Wanda Blake, it must be her. One of my guys got knocked off trailing her.
I'd assumed she'd drop her investigation once her client got off.
And there we have it. McMillan and possibly Wynn pulled some strings to cover up Billy's crimes and then framed them on Watson. And now that they went too far, Wanda's on the cusp of finding out. But how to deal with this unexpected and unwelcome turn of events?
She's got some ex-cop digging into deep evidence files. He's got enough connections in the department to turn up some very ugly shit. So what am I supposed to do?
Stay calm. Run for president. I'll take care of the rest.
Knowing Jason Wynn, he handles this in a way that is not going to be pretty. He then calls, who else?
Yeah?
I want you to find that thing in the alley. I have a specialist who will deal with it. Second, I need a pickup and delivery. A child. Nothing serious. Someone will contact you with the details.
Got it.
Jesus, Wynn knows no bounds. Calling in the mob to kidnap his employee's daughter just to have his wife stop looking into the deep evidence by having them focus on finding Cyan.
Kim, call Senator McMillan and tell him that the problem we discussed is being resolved. Twist will find this freak, then you're on.
Are you sure about using Tony Twist's goons again? I mean, remember what happened last time? Or maybe that is the point.
Get the guns first, then ask your questions. And remember, finesse.
Got it.
And with that, we return to the alley with the preacher situation still underway. Spawn is sitting there brooding, but the homeless people in here are shocked to find the cop has been forcibly removed.
Jesus, Al! What'd you do to him?
What happened here? Who moved him? I want answers.
Come on, Al. None of us would touch him.
After scolding the homeless people, the mysterious narrator confronts Spawn about his overall shitty behavior.
Give them a chance or leave them to hell alone.
Get out of my way, old man.
You're saving them 1 minute, then spitting on them the next. Are you going to do what's right, or sit here on your ass and brood?
Nah, I'm sure there's more to this conversation.
That little boy earlier today, he's still with that psychopath. You could have done something, but you didn't. Why?
He didn't ask for help.
He's mute.
His problem, not mine.
Jeez, Spawn.
Look, you can't push people out of the way looking for your personal space and expect them not to push back. You kill hitmen, the mob comes. You stick a cop on the wall, the police come.
He has a point, Spawn. Perhaps it is not outside forces who invaded the alley. It was you, and those forces are only after you because you did something to earn their wrath.
These bums, they're just innocent bystanders caught in the middle of your storm.
That's something you need to consider, Spawn. Later, the clown meets up with Billy.
Hello, Billy.
Huh? How do you know my name?
Because he's a demon, and you're the right kind of candidate for hell.
I'm a fan.
A what?
Been admiring your work for quite some time now, actually.
Why?
I just love to see the children's faces when you're with them. You like kids, don't you, Billy?
Yeah?
I don't like where this is going.
You want to go to a party?
When?
It'll be a real scream. I promise.
Now, where have we seen that address before? Oh, shit. Violator has just tipped Billy off to one of Tony's places. And oh shit, Max, the private investigator who was helping Wanda, has been murdered. It's too bad she didn't hire Rin as the private investigator instead. But something awful is about to happen. And look at that. Wanda receives word of Max's death on the phone, and the mod kidnaps Cyan. Back in the alley, the homeless people are crowded around Spawn as he inspects his guns. Over the radio, Spawn hears that Cyan has been kidnapped, so he springs into action. But first he goes to help deal with the crazy preacher. The preacher finally shows himself to the police, and holy shit, he's got a frag grenade and...
It's okay. Still got a pin.
Huh. Jesus Christ, that was a bit nerve-wracking.
Everything's fine.
Well, not quite.
Nobody move!
Jesus fucking Christ, he's a suicide bomber too? Luckily they got a sniper who looks like an Enclave officer ready to snipe him. You also gotta love how it shows the close-ups of the kid and the preacher. Looks like they're just coming out of the alley and Spawn is right behind them, with no one noticing. But then when you look and see from the sniper spot, they appear to be out in the open and Spawn is nowhere to be seen. Good. Glad that's over.
Nice shot.
Holy shit.
Holy shit, he's still alive? And he's about to blow everyone away. Thankfully, Spawn manages to save the kid, pulling him with his chains and concealing him with his cloak. Damn.
Finally, having chosen a side and released of some inner guilt, the warrior is now free to pursue his personal mission unfettered. God help those in his path.
And that mission is saving Cyan. What the... How did the preacher survive that blast? And what's going on with him now? Oh, lovely. It was the clown this whole time.
Glad to be out of that skin. Ooh, that was tight. Especially in the crotch.
Later, we return to the address of Tony Twist's hideout, and uh-oh. One of Tony's henchmen is dispatched by an unknown force, and there he is.
Hello, little girl. Do you like Tutti Frutti?
Not good. Later, Spawn pays a visit to an individual known as the Mouth, not to be confused with the Mouth of Sauron, to find out who took Cyan. It doesn't take long for the Mouth to spill the beans.
Who took her? Okay! Twist! Tony fucking Twist!
Well then, looks like Tony signed off on his own death warrant. And now with Spawn coming to him, at least part of Wynn's plans are going his way. Spawn then drops the Mouth off the building, but then catches on the side and then falls into a dumpster. Presumably, audibly. Back at Tony's hideout, two more of Tony's men bust in after their buddy had gone silent and find the dead body and Billy.
Hey! Shitface!
Damn.
He had a dirty mouth. And so do you.
The Mafia man tries to shoot Billy, but somehow misses and gets injured.
Come on, honey, it's time to dance.
Oh, good lord. This is so not good. The other mob guy who survived then calls Tony. Later that night, we see Senator McMillan in his limo, blackmailing someone for their political endorsement, drinking some booze when his limo driver pulls him over to the waterfront.
What the hell is this? Hey, goddammit!
What do you think this is, McMillan? Another face-to-face meeting with Jason Wynn. And he doesn't look too happy.
Wynn, I swear my heart can't take much more of this cloak and dagger bullshit.
Someone has sent your prodigal son on a decidedly untimely rampage.
Well, McMillan, that's just how he rolls. But he brought up Billy, so you know this is important.
My son?
Little bastard Billy. He's fucking up my plans.
What are you saying?
Did you send Billy after Wanda Blake's child?
I know there's no way you could have known it was really the Violator, but do you really think McMillan would risk sending Billy after Cyan? I mean, it's like, well, who else, but still.
No. Absolutely not.
All right.
What happened? How did he get the little girl? If it wasn't me, then who did?
Chapel then intimidates McMillan into fucking off.
There are forces at work here at Chapel. Shadow players who have decided to remain nameless. For the time being.
Someone's playing your game.
We'll see.
And with that, Wynn leaves Chapel with his gear and he is off to hunt Spawn. In the next scene, we see Terry and Wanda at the police station doing what they can to find Cyan. Wanda correctly deduces that Cyan was kidnapped for Wanda's role in trying to uncover who framed Kyle Watson. This scene is then followed up by Tony about to skip town, yelling at one of his associates.
Get the plane ready. I gotta get the fuck out of town. The boys are on the way and now Wynn will be on my ass because you lost the kid. Shut up, goddammit! Get it done!
He's about to leave when he sees the last person he wants to see.
I warned you, you fat piece of shit.
Fuck is right. But to be fair, Spawn only warned you to stay out of the alleys, not abduct kids tens of miles away in the suburbs. But then again, Spawn is an anti-hero. If Tony does something to piss him off, like kidnap his ex-wife's child, then he's fucked. He then wastes no time trying to get the answers.
Where's the little girl?
Where is she? Somebody took her from us!
Address?
I don't know! Some freak in an ice cream truck! Somebody must have tipped him off! Please don't hurt me! I'm telling you the truth!
And with that, it's heavily implied that Spawn killed him, because that is the last time in this series we hear from Tony Twist. You see, writers, that is how you use a character. They do something good or bad and then are killed off, not fucking introduced as a potential threat and then we don't hear or see them ever again. Simultaneously, at the police station, Twitch finally cracks the case.
I swear I didn't know. Not at first, anyway. He's my flesh and blood. He's done bad things. Who hasn't? God forgive me, I had to protect him. It required some serious arm.
As Twitch is finishing it off, Sam is off, complaining about something.
I hate these friggin' reports. You ought to be doing this shit, Twitch. You know I hate typing up these 5-5s.
Beat him, join him.
Look on the bright side, Sam. At least you're not doing TPS reports. And speaking of reports, Twitch finally has his.
Sir, I've got it.
Yep. Let's hear it.
The alley murders, Stevens, the whole ball of wax.
Well, don't keep me in suspense. Spit it out.
Extortion. Stevens recorded a cellular phone call between an unknown individual and Senator Scott McMillan.
McMillan?
Yes. That's Senator McMillan.
McMillan, as it turns out, has an illegitimate son who happens to enjoy dismembering little children.
Oh man. McMillan's been pulling strings covering for the sick bastard.
Way ahead of me, as always, sir.
And Sam catches on, then Twitch explains the full scale of what happened.
Stevens planned to sell his story to the Washington Post. An attempt to blackmail McMillan obviously failed, putting Stevens' life in danger.
Sam fills in the rest.
So Stevens goes underground long enough to make a killing on the media merry-go-round. McMillan tracks him down, gets some wise guys to punch his ticket along with the reporters.
In a nutshell, sir.
So our preacher wasn't a child killer after all.
Nope. Completely unrelated.
You got a name on his pus bag?
Yes, sir. His name is Billy Kincaid.
Great work, Twitch.
Thank you, sir. Your praise makes it all worthwhile.
Now that they know everything, it's time for some action.
But now it's time to get busy with what I'm good at. I want every officer brought up to speed on this thing pronto. Because this guy's ass is going to be mine, dead or alive. You got me?
While they're off to hunt Billy Kincaid, we see them at his home, lighting some strange altar to his daddy, Senator McMillan. He then puts on a record and approaches Cyan.
Time to have that ice cream.
Jesus Christ, help can't come fast enough.
Such a pretty one. Do you like the music? I like the music very much.
God, this creep's fucking visage.
Would you like to dance? Just you and me.
Oh shit, not good, this is getting creepy.
I scream, you scream, we all scream, I scream. Chocolate pecan, strawberry whirls.
That's not helping. He's about to walk off with her, then...
Move away from the child. Now.
Oh shit, it's about to get fucking real. Oh, that's gonna cause fire. Too bad you can't burn someone who's already been singed to a crisp. Nevertheless, the fire still traumatizes Al for a bit.
You're on fire!
While that is going down, the NYPD are out in full force tonight, heading straight for you, Billy. But then he busts out of his garage with Spawn latching onto his truck. The NYPD are then hot on the chase. Terry and Wanda are then informed that the NYPD are chasing the suspect at the present time, but cannot confirm anything about Cyan. They then decide to go with the police. As the clown watches the chase, Sam and Twitch notice Spawn climbing Billy's truck.
Twitch, who's another jerk off on top of the truck? Accomplice?
No idea, sir.
Yeah, well, if he's in the way, he's history. Am I clear?
Crystal clear, sir.
You'll need bigger guns.
It's not even his kid.
Yeah, keep laughing, fat boy. This chase then leads them back to the alley near the church where Spawn likes to brood. Spawn then punches through the roof of the truck's cab trying to get at Billy, and then it crashes. Spawn is then hurled from the truck while Billy makes off with Cyan. The police are right behind them. And Sam is not happy about being in the alley again.
This is bullshit! I want to blockade all the way around this piss hole. Nobody in or out. And for Christ's sake, let's get it right this time!
While Billy is walking around, he pulls out his blade, and Spawn confronts him.
Let her go.
We also get some more words of wisdom from the narrator.
For some warriors, the answer is crystallized in an instant. Their instincts point them only one way. The truth becomes undeniable and apocalyptic.
The showdown appears to be on. The police have the area cornered off, Terry and Wanda arrive on the scene, and the clown is watching too.
This is all coming together so nicely. Remember, there's no room for pussies in Satan's army.
Watch it, clown. That's real rich coming from Malbosia's bitch. No rhyme intended there.
You don't belong here.
Bitch, you're in Spawn's alleys. You're the one who doesn't belong here. But then we get some calm tension before the storm. Spawn powers up with necroplasm and uses his cape to take Cyan away, and then he strikes at Billy. You're fucked now, Billy. Do you have anything to say?
Help, Daddy!
Your sleazy politician of a father can't save you now, Billy. Or his career for that matter when this explodes in the press tomorrow morning. Billy is now firmly in Spawn's grasp, so what shall Spawn do with him?
Kill him. Kill him. Kill him. Kill him. Kill him.
Well, if that's what the Violator intended, then despite no matter how good it may feel, it may be best not to kill him. Taking Billy's life may just put you further down the path to being a creature of Malbosia. Spawn. I have a feeling this act of restraint was the hardest thing for you to do up until this point. It was easy to kill Tony Twist's men and overkill. It was easy for you to face off against the Violator in his true form. It was easy for you to save the mute kid, easy to rob the CIA armory, and it would have been easy to kill Billy Kincaid. But not succumbing to Malbosia's desires for you? That was hard. And not killing Billy to save yourself from that was hard. And you did it. And because of that, the clown is not happy.
What the fuck? Hey, you assholes, that wasn't in the goddamn script. I don't think you realize what's at stake here. Get with the fucking program.
He then climbs down to find Billy.
Get up, you worthless sack of shit.
Everyone loves how he says shit like that, but Billy just lies there and speaks his final words.
I want my ice cream.
Sorry, asshole. We're all out of ice cream.
And with that, the Violator shoots and kills him. Unfortunately for Billy, there is no ice cream where he is going. Unfortunately for us, Billy's death wasn't as fun here in the show as it was in the comics. I mean, seriously, in the comics, Spawn does kill Billy, but he does it like this. Perhaps it would have been hard to animate or something like that. But anyway, the clown has some more words for Spawn.
You made a fucking deal. The boss won't be happy when he hears about this.
Well, if we get to see Spawn fight some more demons, that won't be a bad thing.
You really fucked yourself this time. Oh, this ain't over, Spawn.
You made a fucking deal.
After that, we get a feels moment between Cyan and Spawn.
Hello.
I want my mommy.
You go to your mommy now. She'll take care of you.
Before Spawn lets Cyan leave, he gives her his wedding ring to Wanda.
You're gonna be all right now.
Cyan then makes her way out of the alleys to where the police are lined up.
Hold your fire, it's the kid.
You all right, honey?
I want my mommy.
Cyan!
Mommy!
She is then happily reunited with her family. Wanda then notices Cyan has something in her hand.
Honey, where'd you get this?
He gave it to me, Mommy. He did.
Who, sweetheart?
The sad man.
Well, isn't that something?
Wanda.
Al.
Spawn then takes his leave, knowing everything is going to be okay from now on. And we get some final words from our narrator.
For all hellspawns, a time comes when the stage is set. All sides have been chosen. The world and its rules have been defined.
He continues.
And the real war, in all its apocalyptic horror, is finally ready to begin.
And that concludes the first season of Todd McFarlane's Spawn. So, where to begin? From a technical standpoint, the animation was wonderful. I mean, it looks dated as hell now, and even in 2004 it looked dated when I first saw this. But for its time, it was good. Animation aside, the story was surprisingly more accurate to the direction of the first couple of issues than one might have expected. I think any adaptation of comic books can work, even if they depart from the source material, as long as the story works and the characters are mostly true to how they are depicted in the source material. But a somewhat faithful adaptation such as this is fine. Keith David as Spawn was certainly one of his best voice performances he's ever done in his towering career. And the other voice actors were superb in their roles as well. The only major problem I had with this first season was, again, the teasing of Angela. Introducing her and then just having her gone from the show without explanation. Other than that, the first season really is my favorite of the three. There's just more room to watch the development of Spawn's character when he comes back as a blank slate, and then he finds out what happens to him as he struggles to decide what kind of person or hellspawn he wants to be. I mean, there's still plenty of that in seasons 2 and 3, but there's just more of it in season 1 than in the other seasons. And most of Spawn's best lines come from season 1. The side stories were also more interesting in season 1 than they were in the other seasons. I mean, season 2, it was a more straightforward plot, but here you had a bunch of things going on, such as McMillan's presidential campaign, you know, Wanda trying to figure out who framed Kyle Watson, you know, the stuff at the chapel, and it all connects rather nicely. Normally I try to find out more things to go on about, but remember, this is a TV show we're reviewing, not a movie. You might expect me to give out a rating, but no, I don't rate seasons of TV shows. I rate the show as a whole. I mean, granted, there are some seasons of shows that I strongly dislike over others, but do not overall affect my general opinion of that show. In the final review, I will actually go in depth as to why I can't even give this show as a whole a rating. But again, we'll save that for last. But anyway, as for things to look forward to in this coming seasons, with Billy and Tony out of the way, Wynn and Chapel are now hunting Spawn. Wynn will also have to keep an eye out on Terry as he is auditing the CIA's inventory. And of course, Spawn might now have to watch out for more things, as now he's pissed off Malbosia. But then again, we'll have to wait and see. Until my next video, enjoy your Halloween month.
How dare you burst into my office like this?
Why wasn't I called about Spawn?
What are you talking about?
You've had me deliberately taken out of the loop.
Angela, really?